If you struggle to receive a compliment, you'll struggle to receive love, you'll struggle to receive money, you'll struggle to receive the life you say you want, because receiving, it's not just about a moment, it's an actual identity. And if your identity is not available for it, you will block it every single time. In today's video, we're talking about the art of receiving and why your inability to receive may be blocking you from the relationship, the love, and the life you say you want. Now, if you're new here, hi, I'm Jess. I'm a relationship coach, and I help you become the woman who naturally attracts the relationship and life you desire by raising your self-worth, your feminine confidence, and your standards so you become a natural match to the love and life you want. Because here's what I want you to hear from the start. Your life doesn't rise to what you want, it rises to what you're available to receive. And I know this because I've lived on both sides, okay? I used to be the girl who thought I had to earn love. I was the I don't need anyone, I'll do it myself kind of a woman. I thought being the independent one, the one who could handle everything on her own, the one who didn't need any help, I thought that made me successful, attractive, strong, and in control. But underneath that, there was so much happening for me, because really what all that was saying was that I didn't feel worthy of being supported. I didn't feel like it was safe for me to receive. My nervous system would go haywire, and I definitely didn't feel like I could just be loved without proving something first. So this led to me over giving, to me over functioning, to me trying to prove, and really led to me fully abandoning myself. And even though I said I wanted love, I wanted ease, I wanted support, I wasn't actually available for it because I trained myself into believing that I had to earn everything, which really shut down my ability to receive anything. And that's exactly what my life mirrored back to me, because I had totally closed myself off from being able to receive. So I was sitting there and I was wondering why I wasn't having the love and the relationship and this big life that I truly wanted. So see, this is why this matters, because you cannot attract what you are not open to receive. All right, now let's dive in. But before we do, if at any point you realize you don't want to do this alone, girl, I got you. I understand. I've totally been there. I'll leave my book a call link for you below so you can book a free relationship assessment with me. We can go over where you're at, where you want to be, and if we're a good fit to work together. All right. Now let's dive in. Rumi, who you may be familiar with, the famous poet, he said something that I read once that really made me stop and think. Your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Now, let that sink in for a second, because most of us are out here trying to search for love, trying to attract the relationship, trying to bring this love closer to us, when the actual work is about removing the barriers that are keeping it out. And one of the biggest barriers is our inability to receive. Now, here's something I want you to understand. There's a concept called your wealth container. Now, bear with me because I know we're talking about love, but I need you to understand how love and money are connected. I promise it will all make sense. Your wealth container is your subconscious set point for what you are available to receive. Now, this was developed in our early childhood, mostly 0 to 7, but again, all the way up to 14, even in your 20s, depending on what has happened throughout your life, by what you saw modeled in the home, what you told you were worth, and by the experiences that taught you it wasn't safe to need, to want, to ask, to take care of yourself. And here's where this gets really interesting, or at least I think this gets really interesting. This container doesn't just apply to money, it applies to love, to support, to compliments, to kindness, to ease, to all of it, to everything you're calling in. So spoiler alert, if you had parents who never accepted help or who said, oh, we're fine, even though things really weren't fine, you probably internalized that belief that needing things was weakness, that receiving makes you a burden, that you should just handle things yourself so that you can stay easy. And here's another side of it that I actually don't hear talked about a lot when it comes to practicing this art of receiving, but some of us gals, we weren't just raised by parents who didn't receive. We were also raised to be the good girls, to be polite. Don't ask for too much. Be grateful. Be humble. Don't make a fuss. Don't be needy. Don't be difficult. Don't be too much. Don't take up too much space. And those weren't bad intentions. The people who raised us, they were honestly just doing their best. But what that taught us at a deep subconscious level was that wanting anything was shameful and that needing anything was a character flaw. And that good woman, that good girl, she gives, she makes everyone feel comfortable, she over-accommodates, she shrinks, she's humble, and receiving to us felt selfish. So what did we do? We learned to deflect, we learned to minimize, we learned to say things like, oh, you didn't have to do that, or oh, it's really not that big of a deal, or oh, I'm fine, I've got it. Because accepting something, like really deeply accepting something from somebody else, it felt like it was too much, like we were asking for too much, like we were being too much. We were trained from when we were little girls to close ourselves off to receiving. And now that we're adults, we're sitting here wondering why the love we desire can't seem to find its way to us. So let me ask you a few things here, and I want you to really think about this. So if you need to, pause the video, but like really think about each of these questions, and if you need to, journal on it. I find journaling to be really helpful for me to process, to understand myself, to understand the way my brain works, my conditioning, my patterns, just so I can become aware of those things so that I can eventually change them and work on that. But think about these questions I'm about to ask you, okay? Where do you say yes when you really mean no? Where do you over-deliver when it's not necessary? Where do you say, oh, I'm fine, but really you're not? Where do you say, oh, it's nothing when someone tries to acknowledge you? Or do you point out everything wrong with it instead of just letting the compliment land with you? Where do you make yourself smaller so you make someone else more comfortable? Where do you stay quiet about what you want in order to not rock the boat? Where do you do everything yourself because asking for help feels uncomfortable or maybe even shameful? You see, that's the good girl conditioning at work. And it's one of the most invisible receiving blocks there is because it doesn't look like a block. You know what it does look like? It masquerades as this kindness, as strength, as being low maintenance. But it's not strength, it's armor. And armor, it keeps out the bad and the good all at once. So when love shows up and it's easy and it's consistent, it's supportive and this great love, it doesn't feel romantic to you. It feels foreign. It feels wrong. It feels like too much or like it must be a trap. Because here's what's actually happening beneath the surface. When you can't receive in small moments, you know, a compliment, a helping hand, a kind gesture, you're signaling to your nervous system and to the universe as a whole that you are not available for more. You are literally capping your own container and you're training yourself over and over again to push away the very thing you are praying for. And don't worry, yes, there is neuroscience to this because I love neuroscience, but here's what's happening in your brain. You have a system called the reticular activating system, also known as your RAS, which is basically your brain's personal filter. So it is constantly scanning your environment and it only brings your conscious awareness to the things that match your existing beliefs about yourself. So if you believe deep down that you are not worthy of love or support or ease, your RAS will literally filter out all the evidence that tells you you are. So you'll miss the kind gesture, you'll dismiss that nice compliment, you'll explain away the good thing that just happened to you. And not because it isn't there, but because it doesn't match your identity. So your brain is not looking for it. So there's something called the invisible gorilla effect, which is a phenomenon where people fail to notice unexpected, fully visible things right in front of them because they're not focusing on them. They're looking for something else. So there was a study done where researchers had participants watch a video and asked them to count the number of basketball passes that happened between players. And what they discovered was that the majority of participants, they failed to see a person dressed up in a gorilla suit pounding on their chest that showed up in the middle of the screen. So this goes to show how powerful your RAS is and how it filters out everything you're not looking for and anything you're not available for. And here's the nervous system system piece to this. So when something unfamiliar shows up, like maybe it's someone doing something nice for you, or somebody who's giving you a compliment, or maybe it's that love that you really want to call in, or maybe it's money flowing without any fight at all, your nervous system can actually experience that as a threat because familiar feels safe, even when it's painful. So when love shows up and it's easy, or someone shows up and is consistent for you, or maybe when support is offered to you and you don't have to earn it, you might push it away. And it's not because you don't want it, it's just because your nervous system doesn't recognize it as safe. And that's exactly why receiving is an art form. It's a practice. It's a skill that you have to develop until your nervous system learns this is safe. This is what I'm available for. This is home. All right, so let's talk about how you actually do this, how you can actually practice receiving so you can expand your container and become truly magnetic. So here are the 3 steps to learn the art of receiving. Step 1, recognize your receiving blocks. So before you can expand what you receive, you have to see where you're blocking it. So ask yourself this, when someone compliments you, what's your natural reaction? Like, what do you do? How do you respond? Do you say thank you and accept it and let that compliment land? Or do you deflect it? Do you say, oh, this old thing? Or, oh, but I look tired today? Or do you immediately redirect the compliment back to the other person? That deflection is a receiving block. When someone offers to help you, what's your first response to that? Do you receive that help graciously? Or do you immediately say, oh no, I've got it, or that's okay? That refusal is a receiving block. When something good happens to you, do you let yourself feel it, or do you immediately move on to the next problem or the next thing that needs fixing? That resistance is a receiving block. I was guilty of every single one of these, so you are not alone. I mean, every single one. And looking back, I now see exactly how these receiving blocks were holding me back so much in life, and why I kept looking at my life like, why isn't anything happening? It was literally because of me. So your journal prompt for step 1 is to think about the last time someone offered you help, a compliment, any kind of support. What did you do? Did you let it in, or did you push it away? Another journal prompt you can do after this, think of it as like a bonus journal prompt if you're a bonus hunter, is you can ask yourself and journal on the following prompt. Where in my life am I currently pushing away what I say I want? And think like in love and money and support, like where am I blocking myself? So sit with that, journal on it, and remember nobody else has to see it. So get really, really honest with yourself because you cannot shift what you refuse to look at. Step 2, start small. This is where the practice actually lives because you don't have to start by receiving a grand romantic gesture. We don't want to freak your nervous system out too much. So you don't have to immediately feel comfortable with someone, doing something so big for you. You just need to start small, especially if you're really uncomfortable with receiving. So when someone gives you a compliment, you can simply just say, thank you, and let your nervous system settle. Don't deflect. That can be your main goal for when you're just starting out. Or it could be, someone holding the door open for you. Let them do that. Don't walk or run to try to beat them to it. In fact, slow down so that they have to do it. I love playing this game with myself, especially when I need to reset my energy. I will literally walk up to a door, and if there's somebody walking up right with me, then I will stand there and I will wait for them to open it because I'm like, okay, girl, you gotta receive. You gotta practice this receiving thing now. When your partner, coworker, family, friend, when anybody offers you support or help in any kind of way, accept it. Even if you don't really need it, just practice accepting it. So these kind of reps are what will expand your container and allow you to open up your receiving capacity. Oprah said, the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. So I want to add something just a little extra on the end of that. But the more you allow yourself to receive, the more you signal that you are available for more. That is how you become magnetic, not by chasing, but by opening yourself up. So your journal prompt for step 2 is, what is one small thing I can practice receiving this week? Without deflecting, without explaining, without earning it first, or even feeling like I have to earn it first. So again, it could be as simple as accepting a compliment. Whenever somebody compliments this week, I'm gonna say thank you. Or if I walk up to a door and there's someone next to me, I'm gonna let them open the door. Start small and work your way up. But commit to it. Step 3, expand your identity. So this is where it all comes together, because at the root of a receiving block is an identity, a belief about who you are and what you're available for. And the shift here isn't about doing more, it's about being more and being the person who is open and available to receive. So this future version of you, the woman who is open and ready and willing and able to receive, what does she believe? She believes she's worthy of receiving love without earning it. She believes support is safe. She believes ease is available to her. She believes that when good things come, she deserves them. And above all, she acts like it even before she has the proof. So this is identity shifting in action. You don't wait until love arrives to feel worthy. You feel worthy, and then love has some place to land. As within, so without. What you hold on the inside is what magnetizes on the outside. So your journal prompt for step 3 is, who is the version of me that receives love easily? What does she believe about herself? What does she currently say yes to that I am currently saying no to? Choose to become her now. Act as if now. Don't wait for the relationship to arrive. Like, do it now, because the relationship will show up when your identity has room for it. All right, so let's do a quick recap here so that we don't forget what we're supposed to be doing after this video. So the 3 steps to practice the art of receiving are: 1, recognize your receiving blocks; 2, start small; and 3, expand your identity as the woman who receives with ease. That sounds so good. Because you cannot attract what you are not available to receive. And you, my girl, are so available for so much more than you are letting in. All right, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you are interested in one-to-one coaching, you're ready to become the woman who naturally attracts the relationship and life you desire, I will leave my book a call link for you in the description below so that you can book a free relationship assessment. We can chat, see where you're at, see where you want to be, and if it makes sense to start working together. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share with a woman in your life who you feel needs to hear this, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just pass it on. And remember, self-love isn't optional. It's the foundation for the relationship and life you desire. All right, you guys, I'll see you in the next one.